morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, whenever you happen to be listening. I am thrilled to welcome to the show this morning, Kelly Lennon. She is the Vice President, Commercial Risk Advisor at USI Insurance. And she is in Long Island, New York, a long ways from me here in Iowa. Our worlds look pretty different, even though we're both in the US. But I believe we got connected via social. We haven't actually met in person, but connected via social through a mutual friend, Joey Gingola. And I do think we have been at the same events together, but as I said before we hit record here, we might be too short to have actually been able to see each other through the crowd. Yep. So how are you doing this morning?
I am great. Thank you. It's so great to meet you face to face, even though, like you said, we've probably kind of crossed ships in the night, but it's great to meet you finally after all these times of engaging.
Yes. And so hopefully, like, we're all going to go out at some point, and then we'll just specifically look for each other.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'll look for your name on the attendee list.
Yes. And then I'll just yell across the room.
Well, that happened to me recently. I connected with someone on LinkedIn, and he said, Kelly, we met at a trade show 2 years ago. You sat at our table and basically took over the conversation. I was like, oh, guilty. So yeah, you can't keep track of everyone that you meet at these events, but yeah, we probably were at the same ones.
Yeah. So it's just, we work in an incredible industry, and it's such a small world.
It's such a small world.
Yes. But I love that. I love to think that we have this small little cozy world that we all stay connected and support one another.
Yeah.
And so I've loved being able to track your journey through social. You've obviously made some changes over the last months and are in the fun adjustment period of a new step in your career. So I'm excited to hear about that. But first, I just want to, just touch on family for a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys you're in Long Island. What is life like? How are your kids doing?
Yes, well, it's a lot of, we're very close-knit now. We've become a very close-knit family, eating dinner together every single night. We're great. I have 2 in college that came home in March, and my youngest is in high school, and we just we've adjusted. Like, there's no complaints. We remind each other that, we really were strict on the quarantine. We just, basically said we're staying home. We're staying home so we're living simply so others can simply live. It's kind of like my mantra. We never felt sorry for ourselves for all the things that we had to give up, and we've just really kind of grown really close because of it. Like, I hate to, the upside of all of this, the silver lining was, of course, they might tell a different story. Like, we don't have to eat dinner together every night, Mom, but it's been great. It's been great. And we're one of those families that adopted a pandemic puppy.
Oh,
yeah. So we have an 8-year-old boxer, Luna, who you might have seen in one of my videos. And so we adopted a brother for Luna, at the time he was 4 months, a rescue American bulldog, who's just this crazy burst of energy who's making our lives crazy, but in a good way. So it's kind of given us like a lot to focus on. It's been really positive. So it's been great. We kind of made it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so
now things are opening up.
Yes. So things are starting to kind of go back to normal. Now, I do think that like life in New York, even here in Iowa at our most restricted, was probably maybe not as restricted as it was in New York, because like there was just such a severe spike in cases for you.
Yeah, it was severe. I mean, we didn't go to the supermarket. And when we did go to the supermarket, so I mean, the photos of me going to the supermarket, I would go like once every 10 days, and then it was like, that's it. I'm not going back out there. It was like going out into like this world. The mask, the glasses, I would wear a hat, gloves, and then you come home and you strip off all your clothes in the garage, and then you come in and you spray everything down, and then you throw everything in the laundry and you take a hot shower. It's like, that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was like, you felt like, it was almost like if you could see the virus, would you go out there? So no one went out. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
No one's experienced anything like it. And of course my mom, I worried about her. Like to this day, I haven't been within 12 feet of my mom since
Oh,
late April.
yeah.
Yeah, we haven't, I'll visit her, but I'll bring a soccer chair. I'll open it up on her lawn. She'll sit
Yeah.
on her stoop because she's in Queens. So she has a stoop. And that's how we visit, like still to this day, like, we're taking baby steps to get back in, because New York City, where my mom lives, only opened up phase 2. So we're still social distancing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, we're getting a little bit closer and closer. In fact, this morning I got within 3 feet of, the gentleman who picks up my sanitation
Yeah.
worker. I bring him coffee in the mornings.
Oh,
So especially, it's easy to do now because I sit at my desk and there's a window. I see him, like I run, I give him a to-go cup of coffee, and I bring it out. And when this quarantine first happened, we kind of looked at each other like, what do we do now? We can't. So I just went, okay, I'll set it down here and then I'll walk away and then you come get it. But this morning, for the first time, like with impunity, I went out and I handed him a cup of coffee. So
yeah.
to me, it was like, okay, it is getting a little bit more normal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, and I get this feeling without knowing you super well that it's like you kind of start to crave that human contact, whatever that looks like. And obviously it's nice to have your family around closer to a
Yeah.
certain extent. And then, like, I have a 7-year-old who's like maybe permanently glued to me part of the time now. But also it's so nice to just see other people.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going out running and seeing nobody, and then starting to see people just like come out, and people talking on their lawns and having conversations. And so watching that like human interaction happen again has been nice. And I think we just appreciate it more than
Yeah.
we did before all of this happened.
Yeah. And I think everyone's friendlier. This was the extent of my interaction with anyone outside the family. So this is my front window.
Yeah.
When Amazon or UPS or the mailman would come, I would, thank you. Literally, that's, and that was my socialization.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I would leave a note for the DoorDash delivery.
Oh my gosh.
Leave a note with a tip inside, just thanking them for what they were doing. Because we really did try and not like go out unnecessarily, at least for, the first 6 weeks. And then I was like, I just gotta go and see people and wave to them at the grocery store if that's
Right.
what I get to do for socializing. And so,
Right.
so yeah, it's just, what social interaction just looks so much different than it did. It's just kind of mind-boggling to me. And I hope that we kind of keep some of that stuff, like, because I kind of love some of it in terms of like just finding new ways to reach one another and stay in contact and build relationships. Because I think it's been interesting, even my kids, watching them like talk on the phone and FaceTime with people more.
Yeah.
Because before it was so much texting and I'll see you here and da 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 da, and they've just had to be socialize in a different way if they wanted to stay in touch with their friends and stuff, and
Right.
family. So
Right.
So,
Yeah, I think I talk to my friends more because of it, like because we made a really concentrated effort to FaceTime and to stay in touch and to check in on each other.
yeah.
How, because we all know someone who had it, and a lot of us know people who died from it. And, so we would become each other's network. And I think we became closer, even though we haven't seen each other in 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a special thing. But you're
Yeah.
you're a native New Yorker, I take it.
I am. I grew up in Queens, which is a county in New York City. I've intentionally tried to lose my accent, so I don't know if you can tell that I'm from Queens. Can you?
No.
Do I sound like a New Yorker?
You've done a really good job. Like, I don't know exactly. I get made fun of for my accent all the time. So like, I love accents, but yeah, it doesn't seem like super heavy Queens to me.
No, when I get tired or like, or angry, or it'll come out. But I started trying to lose my accent when I was working, when I became a working person. And I was still living at home at the time. And I would come home and I would say, can you please pass the salt? And my father would go, salt? What's salt? Like, Dad, I'm trying to improve myself and you're making fun of me. Because we would say salt. Pass the salt.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm going to the mall. Like,
Yes.
literally how I grew up talking. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
my mother still has that very thick accent, although she says she doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. I don't think you ever get to completely ditch those things. Like, I think even if I moved somewhere now, well, I'm probably too old to lose it, but even like my kids, I don't know if they would ever lose like the Midwest lilt they have, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. People can pick it out.
Yeah, I picked it out. I was describing it to my mother when I was telling her that we were going to be on this podcast. I was describing your accent as from the movie Fargo, because I felt like that's what she would relate to. Obviously, you've heard that before, right? I mean, I know that's an old movie.
Yes, but yes, I hear people are like, I can't tell exactly where you're from, but I can tell you're from like Midwest-ish.
Yeah.
But it is, I get a little piece of everything, and I don't know what it is. I don't like, I grew up in Iowa, obviously, and then, like Illinois and Wisconsin are right on the border. So, and I worked almost primarily in Wisconsin for 15 years. But I get a little bit of Minnesota and a little, so I have no idea what's going on. But my dad spoke broken English, and my mom has a Southern accent. So,
oh, you're kidding?
Yeah. So
where was your dad from?
Vietnam.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have so your accent is.
It's just everything.
Many things.
Yes. Yes. It's the melting pot of accents.
Of accents.
So, yes.
Well, I find it interesting because my kids grew up on Long Island. I grew up in Queens. So they kind of say words differently than I did. And I sometimes take pause like, oh, that's funny hearing my own kids say like orange. I would say orange.
Yeah.
And they say orange because that's how Long Island we say it here. Like, it's funny.
And it's so funny how you pick up on those things. Like, it's interesting. But my daughter is fascinated with Southern accents. Like, she's really trying to master a Southern accent.
Oh, how funny. Just for fun?
Yeah, just for fun. Oh. Yep. So, yeah, but she's not very good.
Does she say y'all?
She sounds more Australian than Southern. I'm not sure what's going on, but she's working on it.
Oh, funny. So have you been to New York much? Do you like New York?
I've never been to New York. I know. What? So now I have somebody, as soon as like this world kind of goes back a little bit, I now have somebody to come see in New York.
Oh yeah. We'll go to a show.
Yes.
You need to go to a Broadway show.
Yeah, I do.
There's nothing like it. I love going to Broadway shows. Like, a lot of New Yorkers don't take advantage of New York.
Yeah.
So I'm about 25 miles outside of New York, so I can just jump on a train and be in Manhattan, in 45 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I've always worked in Manhattan up until I guess 2013. I always worked in Manhattan. That's just kind of where we worked. We jumped on where I lived. You just jumped on the subway, and you worked in Manhattan. That's just where we worked. I love Manhattan.
Yes.
I miss it.
Before I get there, I feel like I should let you know that I have a horrible sense of direction and not read subway maps very well. But as long as you can like specifically tell me which connections to make, I will do exactly as I'm told. I will not even second guess it. I will just do exactly as I'm told.
I love taking people on the subway for the first time.
Oh my God.
I've probably taken 7 to 10 people on the subway for their first time. Like entertain people their first time in New York. Yeah, we have to take the subway. One time I did it was it was clients from California, not clients, but colleagues from California. And at the time there was some strike or something, some trash strike. And I said, we were going to take a cab uptown. And I said, why don't we take the subway? You've never taken the subway before. It'll be your first experience. You can't leave New York without taking the subway. Bad idea, because whatever strike it was, whatever was going on, there was no subway, there was no trash pickup. And there was just trash everywhere on the platform. And I was like, it's not usually like this. I was mortified.
Oh my gosh. So I went to China 8-9 years ago, something like that. And I did use the subway system in Beijing and Shanghai, but I had somebody like with me, like right next to me, telling me exactly what to do the whole time. But it was after a few trips back and forth, my sister was working at the embassy at the time. After a few trips between like the shopping centers and the embassy, I got pretty good at it, but I now feel like I may have lost some of those navigation skills. So I gotta come
So
to New York and get them back.
yeah, you never take public transportation anywhere?
So
There is none there?
there's buses that I don't need.
Okay.
But
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, so let's do a quick population comparison. So the town that I live in is like 60,000 people.
Okay.
And so Long Island, just Long Island itself, do you know?
No, let me say. Well, so I'm in Nassau County, so let's do my county. Population of Nassau County. Because you've seen Long Island on a map, right? I mean, it's 1.3 million.
Yeah. So
It's a little bit different.
it's such different worlds, but yet out of 8 billion people, you and I are talking right now.
There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So yeah, this has been my thing lately. I'm like, there's 8 billion other people, but you and I are we're having a conversation right now. So I like to think about our small little world. But
Yeah.
yeah. So speaking of working in Manhattan, you're now working from home. You have made a little bit of a career shift or a step in another direction with your career.
Yep.
So just kind of walk us through how you found yourself in the insurance industry, what your career experience has been like up until now, and what you're doing at USI.
Okay. So like most people, I didn't start out with a career in insurance or strive for a career in insurance. It just kind of happened. I grew up in Queens in a very working class family. It wasn't like college was kind of, hey, are you going to go to college? I'm like, oh, I guess. So I went to community college for 2 years and I came out as a secretary. What I did was kind of brilliant. And I told my kids, hey, this is an option for you too. So I don't have to pay for your college. My company, I worked for a management consulting firm on Park Avenue and they had tuition reimbursement. So I went to school at night and I got my undergrad at night on the company, which was great. To this day, I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
And then I, kind of in the always wanting more, I didn't want to be a secretary anymore. I wanted to be kind of more of a contributor, more of a generator. So I went to school at night, got my degree, and then I found myself, one of the consultants left to become a principal at a promotions agency. So they were an agency that was kind of a marketing and promotions agency. They designed and manufactured promotional products for packaged goods companies like Hershey's and M&M Mars, quick service restaurants like Burger King. So like the kids meals, the Happy Meals, the little candy toppers, they design and manufacture those. And so he called me out of the blue and said, he kind of bought out the company. And so he had a principal role and he just called me out of the blue and said, do you want to come work here? No idea I had no idea what the company was all about, what I'd be doing. But of course I was just like, sure. So I really credit him. His name is Don Kurz. And he was kind of the first one that just took this crazy leap of faith, like out of the blue, just my phone rang and he offered me this position. Didn't know how I had transitioned. It was just, it kind of set the course for everything else getting me here. You know what I mean? And I reached out to him not too long ago and just said, I just want you to know how much I appreciated that. I'm a very grateful person and I'm really grateful to him to this day. And I'm not going to age myself, but it was a long time ago, but I really appreciated that. And so then I just kind of started working on bigger things. Like I was working on the Burger King account and more, again, I just found people were had confidence in me and had faith in me. And I was put on the Burger King account, which is our biggest client. And I became a junior account executive and then the senior account executive left and they gave me that role. And I'm like, little old me, I always found myself, people had a higher opinion of me than I had of myself.
Yeah.
Almost like that. What's that syndrome called? Like that,
imposter
syndrome. Yeah. And that started early on in my career. And then after that, they moved to, California, the company, and I had just gotten married and I didn't want to leave my family. So I didn't go and I stayed here and just did more of kind of the agency roles, promotions agencies. And then I just decided that it was time to do something that was more conducive to family life because I was really working 24 hours a day. The company I was with had an office in China. So it was literally working 24 hours a day, right? Because of the time difference.
Mm-hmm.
We would take turns, my time, have it with our calls, my day or my night, but it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And I found myself just kind of applying to jobs that, I'll apply to this this marketing job at Aon in their travel insurance practice. And I had no insurance experience whatsoever, but they took a leap of faith in me, Christina Hopper. And I even said, I'm like, do you have any concern that I have no insurance background? She's like, no, we like your marketing background. So leap of faith, loved it, loved working in insurance. I'm like, oh, this. And at the time I thought, well, insurance isn't cool. So so I'll admit, I didn't describe it as working in insurance. It was travel insurance. I would describe it was a marketing role in the travel industry because I was marketing for an insurance company. But then I just started really embracing it. Like, no, insurance is cool. But again, I wanted more. And, the position was kind of very flat and, there really wasn't anywhere to go. So I reached out to someone at RPS who was formerly at Aon. And that's when I went to the property and casualty side.
Okay.
And it just kind of opened up this world like, wow, this is insurance. Like,
yeah.
Right. Like, not to disparage travel insurance, but property and casualty insurance is just, it's such a big world. So, so that was my role at RPS up until just recently. And my role was client relations manager. So it was really just going out and developing relationships with people and kind of being myself, kind of, I did a lot of handwritten notes, thank you for your business. I brought an ice cream. I brought a Mr. Softy to one of my clients on National Ice Cream Day. Just kind of my job was to remind our agents and brokers that RPS was the wholesaler of choice, right? Yeah. And it was a great role. And during that role, I got to work with USI. And again, they saw something in me and said, would you consider, being a producer for USI? And I was perfectly happy at RPS.
Yeah.
But, that nagging thing, and it stems from my childhood when my father said to me when I was in my 20s, what are you doing next? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you going to move out? Like, move out? Like, so, right? Like, and of course he didn't want me to move out. He just wanted me to stop spending money on designer handbags and put my money into something. So, just that nagging thing, like, am I going to take keep doing the, what's easy, or do I take the next challenge? And that's how I just decided to just go for it and try my hand at the retail side. So now I'm still in property and casualty insurance, but now I'm on the retail side. So it's a huge challenge, but USI they have a really robust training, thank God,
yeah.
or I wouldn't have done it. Like, really, really robust training protocols, and they really invest a lot in their producers. And I'm taking advantage of that. Like, I'm someone who, you give me a resource, I will use it.
Yeah.
Like anything and everything at my disposal, I will use. So here I am. So I'm kind of still in the training, a little bit training, getting to know how the company runs, and there's lots of sales training and product training, and I'm hoping to go out and grow a production book and make a difference and introduce USI and how we're better and different to insureds, and ultimately, maybe having my own team someday, but yeah, it's exciting. It's really exciting.
When did you make the switch?
Just last month.
Yes. Okay. So it was
during COVID.
Yes. Yes. So you went through this whole process virtually.
Yes.
What was
that crazy?
It's absolutely crazy. I'm curious what it was like, because obviously you've gone through the traditional methods of doing for a job and sitting down across from somebody and doing that whole thing, and now you've done this completely virtually. What was that like?
Well, I think I try not to think of it like interviewing. Like, I try to think of it like, let's just get to know. And I had probably 6 interviews, but I never looked at them like interviews. I just looked at it like, let's have conversations.
Yeah. And
just like this. And I was 100. I didn't prepare. I didn't look up like what you should answer during an interview. I didn't do any of that. I just thought, I'm just going to go into this cold and just have a conversation and be myself. And I had this amazing, USI has this amazing in-house recruiter, Nicole, who was just so open and transparent, and just, I believe in you, and, just give us a shot and just talk to this person. And you really just like kind of encouraged me, because she saw that this was a good fit before I did. And then, so I was just kind of open to conversations. And the next thing I was like, I said to her, Nicole, don't look now, but I'm excited for this next conversation, because you want to know that you're going to fit in somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And so it was really just this kind of thing. It was just having conversations. It wasn't like um, formal. It didn't feel like formal interviews. It just felt
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
and that's what did it for. I think made it
Right.
work.
Yeah. And I had my experience was similar, except it wasn't that many conversations, except there were so many conversations leading up to like the big conversation, I guess what I would define as the big conversation.
Yeah.
It was like, this isn't like a formal thing. Like
Yes.
you don't have to put anything on. Like, we're just like, don't put on your, like, I'm an interviewee hat. Like, just come here and be yourself. And let's
Isn't that
just
better?
that we can all really work together. And that was it. And it was just like, it was so good. And it was like the most collaborative, like, conversation that I had, like, in an interview sense. Like, so it was just, I was like, yeah, I think we're going to be okay together. I think we can get along. I think we can do this. So it was, yeah. And it does make a huge difference. You
Yeah.
feel like you're just more relaxed, and you're like, okay, now I don't have to worry about showing up as somebody that I'm not,
Right.
for as long as I work here.
Right.
Or they'll be like, who is this? This is not the person that showed up in the interview.
Exactly. Because anyone can say anything, right? Like you can script, but you just be yourself, and if it wasn't right, then it wasn't right.
Right. Right. Yeah. I
Yeah.
love that. Like that. Cause yeah, it's so easy to be like, no, I just want the job and I'll do whatever I need to get the job.
Right.
But yeah, if that mismatch is there, then you're just
Right.
unhappy.
Right. And not that corny, if it was meant to be, it's meant to be, and,
Yeah.
one door opens and another, like, yes, all those are true,
Yeah.
but just, just kind of be yourself. And I felt like I was myself, that my colleagues were themselves, we just had conversations, and I have a lot of respect for them. And I just found myself respecting them and thinking, I want to be their colleague. I want to work there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as much as I loved RPS, and the great thing is I get to still work with RPS, because
Yes.
now I'm on, it was kind of like, well, the bad news is I'm leaving. The good news is I'm going to be your client.
Yeah. We're still going to hang out.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So when you look back through all of these experiences that have brought you to the career that you're in right now, what is like the biggest lesson that you've learned in all of this?
I think it's just keep going. Don't take the easy way out.
Mm.
Like the story about my dad. So I had my first job, that job on Park Avenue. And my father said, what's your plan? And I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, you're going to move out? I'm like, move out? He's like, yeah, don't you think you should buy something? Now I was in my early 20s. What am I going to buy? I have no money. But I did. I bought a co-op, and it was the best thing I ever did. But it was hard. I had to get a waitress job on the weekends to pay my mortgage. But it was hard, and I was glad I did. It was the best thing I could have ever done.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, I credit my parents a lot. My mom, when she was, when I was a teenager, my mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was a teenager. And then she started working from home. She was typing labels. Okay, I'm dating myself, even though I said I wasn't going to. So she was typing labels because she wanted to surprise my dad with a weekend trip, and wanted to pay for herself.
Oh.
So here I am seeing my mom, working hard, up at night, clankety clank 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 with the keyboard. And then she, after that, she got the bug, and she went back to work. She worked for a lawyer as a secretary. Then she went to school. She became a paralegal. She went to law school. She became a lawyer at age 55.
Wow.
And then to this day, and right now she's a partner in a law firm. She became a lawyer. Yeah, she became a lawyer at 55.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I have great role models. I've had great role models my time. My dad passed in 2010, but he's always still with me. I had great role models my whole life who never took the easy way out. They taught me work ethic. My father was always like, if you're going to be sick, you could be, well, now this probably wouldn't be popular now, but if you're going to be sick, you could be sick at work. In other words, you don't take the easy way out. So I think just that, they instilled in me a good work ethic, and just kind of keep going. What's next? Don't take the easy way out. Always give more than 100%.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So I credit it all to my parents.
Yeah, well, I think that's wonderful. And I can't imagine. And I love this whole idea of it's never too late to reinvent yourself. and I don't mean like reinvent, like become a whole new person, but it's like,
Right.
there's always that opportunity there.
Yes.
You're
Yes.
never stuck someplace based on your age or any of that kind of stuff. The stuff that people would assume you're like, oh, well, I'm basically retirement age. You know what I mean? Like I have people that say that to me like, oh, 55, I'm basically retirement age. So, and they kind of just throw in the towel at that point.
Right.
So I
Right.
love, that's such an amazing story. Like what is
Yeah.
determination
I know.
and like totally getting the bug. Like that's more than getting the bug to go back to work. Like that is
Yeah.
like heck of a lot of ambition to just
Yep.
take on law school.
I know. And when she became a lawyer, let's see, she had 6 grandchildren at the time.
Wow.
Like she was a mom, a grandmother, and like she never like, like she was the best mom ever, the best
Yeah.
grandmother ever. Like we still
Yeah.
had the Easter baskets filled to the brim, and but she just was determined. So she taught me determination. She taught me determination. My father taught me challenge yourself. So that's kind of what I guess what stuck with me.
Yeah, no kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding.
And hopefully what I'm passing on to my kids.
Yeah. I know. Isn't it? I mean, that's kind of thing is you're like, I hope that, and I think that you probably didn't recognize it exactly at the time, but now
No,
looking
definitely
back,
not.
it's like, it's so clear. And that's why I think like, even when and it's more my 13-year-old than my 2 younger ones, even when they disagree with me, I'm like, someday they're going to remember this conversation and they're going to recognize the importance of what I was saying to them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Well, I think I'm doing something right. So on Mother's Day, I told them I only wanted handmade gifts. And so I have this jar next to my desk. They made me this jar, daily inspiration for the people you inspire. And
oh,
every day I open a note from them. Let's see what today's note is.
how sweet is that?
Okay, today's note is your smile is contagious.
Oh,
One of my kids wrote that.
that is so sweet. I think you
Isn't
are
that,
having an
isn't that the
incredible
sweetest thing?
your children. That is a
Thank
fantastic
you.
homemade gift. I'm not even sure where mine went. I mean, I did get one homemade gift and now I'm like, you know what? I bet my daughter ran off with it. I
What
mean,
is it? What did they make you?
she made me like, it's like a lotus flower out of clay.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
it's super
sweet.
sweet, but sometimes she just wants it back.
She needs to make another.
Yes. Yes. Maybe I'll get her some clay. Oh my gosh. So you obviously have been open to change and just taking those leaps of faith. How do we get more females in the industry to like take
Yes.
those leaps of faith in their own?
Yeah. Well, I think we all need to take responsibility for being, for supporting each other.
Mhm.
So, there aren't enough of us. When we do find other females, let's really be each other's support system. In fact, so I left RPS. There was a young producer, Juliet, who just a doll. Like I'm so fond of her, and she's not that much older than my kids. So, and even though I've left RPS, like I'm still reaching out to her because I want her to know, I want to be there for her if she ever needs anything, right? So, just my team. So I met all my teammates virtually,
Yep.
and there's a woman who's on our calls all the time, and I just sent her a note just yesterday. I Skyped her and said, "Are you free for a phone call?" And I called, and I just wanted to introduce myself and kind of get to know her and tell her a little bit about me and just kind of like bond, because I felt like we should stick together. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I just feel like if each of us does that, like if we all just take the time to support each other however we can, in whatever form, we can be there for each other. I'm sure you've read Sheryl Sandberg's Lean In. Did you read that?
I haven't.
Okay, it's not too late. I felt the same way. I only read it a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I read it before I started my new job because I wanted to like give myself like a little empowerment. So I
Yeah.
read it the weekend before I started my new job. And it's really game changer. It just really empowers you as a female to like to lean in, and she has that that Lean In organization, which
Yep.
I became a member of. I'm looking for community events, like anything I can do to help other women. And I think if everyone has a little bit of that, then we can get somewhere.
Yeah.
My company just started a diversity inclusion program, an initiative, and they asked for volunteers. So of course I volunteered,
Yeah.
To try to make a difference that way.
Yeah.
So that's how, and raising powerful, independent women who are going to be the, next generation. I mean, my girls may not get into insurance, but they'll get into they'll be successful at something. So I just feel like, and also recruiting, like, one of the things that USI is still hiring, like they're hiring more producers. So I'm sending, I'm telling people, like, we're hiring, and I would love to see some more women on the team. And so I think it's just, let's all look out for each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's any industry. We should do that.
Oh yeah,
right?
Absolutely. And I think what's that saying? A rising tide lifts all ships, or something like that.
Oh, I never heard that.
Yeah.
Wait, let me think about that. A rising tide lifts all ships. I like that.
I'm probably saying it wrong.
Oh.
It's probably slightly different than that. But I mean, there is like that whole idea of just like, if we support one another, that only just continues to grow.
Yeah.
And it encourages, like, if I support somebody, then it encourages somebody else to go and do the same for somebody else. And and I think you've had the same situation. You've had so many women that have helped, that have like turned around and reached out and helped pull you to that next step.
Yes.
It's not that you weren't walking towards them already, but that little bit of encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Made a big difference. And so,
yeah, I've worked with a lot of women, I've reported to a lot of women, and it's, it's important. Like, we owe it to each other. We owe it to our gender to be there for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I was on a flight at the end of February, and I was just happened to start a conversation with the woman next to me, which, like, I'll talk to anybody on a plane. I'll talk to anybody anywhere. I'm just like, hey, how's it going?
Clearly.
Then I'll be like, okay, I'll take a nap. But she was kind of talking about the same thing, about she had 3 girls, and just really wanting to make sure that they lived the life that they wanted to, and not the life that they thought that she expected them to live.
Mm-hmm.
And just really, she's like, they all have found very diverse careers. And then one of them came to me and said, are you upset that I haven't had any grandkids for you yet? And, and she's like, no, she's like, do it on your own time, like, figure that out, but just know that I'm always going to support what it is that you want from your life. And just, she's that even like in their late 20s, like, trying to remind them that they could create their own destiny. So it is, there's so much to being able to be there to raise that next generation of,
I know. Yeah, it's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
But I think we're doing a good job,
Yeah.
Right?
I do love seeing how that conversation has evolved, even like, and I feel like there's been like a rapid, don't you feel like you knew there needed to be more work in terms of empowering females around you? But then I just feel like in the last couple of years, it's been like a waterfall almost. And there's still a lot of work to be done, but I see that conversation becoming just so much louder.
Yeah.
What's before.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, across industries too, like even Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook. Like, that's phenomenal. And you see in LinkedIn all the time, and you see in the news, like, first female CEO of this company and that company, and, pilots and captains and in the military. Like, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But we're now our job is to continue bringing each other along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you could go back and give your younger self any piece of advice, what would it be?
I guess just keep learning. Like I know it's cliched, but I am a lifelong learner, right? Like, even when I was at Aon, they had tuition reimbursement too. So I went to school to take a graduate class. My kids were like, "You're doing what? Why would you go to school by choice?" I'm like, "Why not? Why not? I'm not paying for it. So I would just say, I would tell myself, just like, keep learning. And it's kind of what I've been doing. So I don't think I would have done many things differently. Like I like to joke that my dream job would be a talk show host. But if I could go back, but if I was talking to my younger self, would I say, go for it? I don't know. Probably not. Just keep taking advantage of those opportunities in front of you. So I guess I would say just keep learning. I feel like, just keep swimming, just keep learning. So I would say just keep learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it.
I'd say maybe your mom had something to do with that.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. You think so? Yeah. I do sound like her, don't I? Yeah, I guess so. Right. Because that's what I observed her going to school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even now, I told her you should be a judge next.
She should. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, she sounds like an incredible woman. So when I come
Yeah,
out to see you, I would like to meet her.
Oh, my friends all love her. My girlfriend's like, when are you and your mom coming for coffee? I'm like, as soon as the world opens up.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh my gosh. So you're obviously very new in this role right now. You're training virtually.
Yes.
So I'm sure that's been kind of an adventure in itself. But like, what are your hopes and dreams in this career?
So I'm an overachiever, of course. I want to, whatever the goals, like we have certain goals, that they want us to meet. I want to meet those like right away. I want to, those are like short-term goals, obviously, like, I want to learn my craft. So I want to be the best broker I can be. I want to learn everything there is to learn about the products we have and the industries. Like, so my focus is technology companies.
Okay.
So whether it's a cloud platform company, SaaS, IT, telecommunications, like I really want to learn those industries so I can be the best broker for them, know what their issues are, help them find the solutions. So that's like short term, like that's, that's really like all falls into doing a good job. But eventually I like to, have a production book where I have a relationship with my clients and, obviously, that continues through renewal after renewal after renewal. But then eventually I would like to have a team. I'd love a leadership role.
Yeah.
And I would love women to be on my team.
Yes.
All those women that, that I help recruit.
Yes, I was going to say, look at the opportunity you're creating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it for sure.
And I have a tendency of a lot of my friends are very similar. So when I start a job, I have a friend who'll say, and where's this job going to take you? What's next? I'm like, I just got here, but that's how we think. And, we kind of challenge each other. So, you always want to hang out with people that are going to challenge you and, kind of see what's best, kind of help you along that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, that's kind of, that would be my long-term goals.
Yeah.
That's where I'd say it. Yeah.
I love it. Well, yeah. I think you're going to nail it personally.
Thank you.
So a couple of other questions as we close up here, because I want people to get to know you a little bit as well. But like, what else are you passionate about outside of work?
Oh, that's a good question. So I love to dance. Yes. So at 11 o'clock, I'll be taking a Middle Eastern virtual dance class through a studio called Confidence Dance and Fitness. And there's this fabulous instructor, dancer, Michelle, who is just phenomenal. And so I put it on my calendar, like that's my lunch hour. Every Wednesday, I do a Middle Eastern dance at 11. And I love to dance. So I love to dance. I'm a big Netflix watcher. I'll binge anything and everything.
What's the last thing you binged? This is such a Brene Brown question, but what's the last thing you binged?
I'm watching a show called The Politician.
Oh.
It's on Netflix and it stars Ben Platt from Dear Evan Hansen. And I'm on season 2, which stars Judith Licht and her name is escaping me.
Is Gwyneth Paltrow still?
And Bette Midler. Okay. Yes, Gwyneth Paltrow, amazing. She has a smaller role in season 2, but amazing. It's such a quirky. I love shows that have originality.
Yeah.
It's quirky. There's my mailman. Thank you. Sorry, I had to do it. That are quirky and original, and I love it. So just binge. Yeah. So that's what I'm binging.
Yeah.
I also like foreign films. I like Fauda is like it's like an Israeli spy thriller, but it's subtitled. So that's hard because I'm a multitasker. So I'm usually doing something else while I'm watching.
Yeah.
Although I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
I can't even eat and read subtitles at the same time because I'm like, we have food going everywhere. I'm like, oh, this isn't working very well.
You really have to concentrate. So one of my secrets when I watch anything, I always have the subtitles on, no matter what I'm watching.
Oh, it's like you're training yourself.
Yeah. And that started with Game of Thrones, season 1, episode 1, because I could not understand what the heck they were saying, what was going on, who is what, who's whom. So seeing Daenerys Targaryen spelled out on the screen, like, do you know what I mean?
Made more sense.
I've been doing it ever since.
Yeah. All right. So final question. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
If you got to play DJ for 5 minutes, you get to play any song you want. What are you going to play?
Oh.
This is a judgment.
Something Beyonce.
Okay.
Formation.
Okay.
Okay, ladies, let's get in formation.
Yeah.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
It's kind of consistent with it's probably because the way we've been talking about, Yeah. Formation, Beyonce.
All right. Well, when we see each other, when we find each other in this wide world, we will dance it out.
Yes. We have to find you a trade show or a conference to attend in New York.
I'll bring a boombox.
Yeah. It'll be awesome.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, I am so thankful for your time.
I'm
excited for your dance class coming up here.
I got to do my quick change.
Yes. So I will let you get to that. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you, and thank you for everything that you're doing for the industry to encourage other women and to raise amazing children.
Thank you.
And please tell your mom hi for me.
I will. Thank you. This has been amazing.
Yes.
Let's talk again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks so much.
Even if it's not being recorded.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have a cocktail.
We'll have coffee together.
Yes. All right. Thanks so much,
Olivia.
Bye-bye.
Bye.